Hello again, saber enthusiasts. I am back with the RVJ Ultimate Works saber from the Pach Store. And as you can see, I've taken the pommel off, I've taken out the chassis, and I've plugged in the little micro USB to USB connector that comes with the saber. And I'm gonna show you how to plug this thing into your computer and get to the files that are on here so you can change the saber fonts, you can change the effects, you can change the colors, and all sorts of cool stuff. So first, we're gonna plug this thing in, and then I'm gonna show you how to find the little button you have to press. We're gonna plug this guy into the computer back here. Now you see there's a little yellow light there. Can you zoom in on this right here? There is a tiny little button. All right, it looks like a lot of the other stuff on the board, but you need to know exactly where it is. There's this chip right here, and just up and to the right of it, there's this little rectangular button with a tiny little dot in the middle, okay? You're gonna wanna hold that down for just a second until you hear a single beep, like so. There we go. Now the computer recognizes the chassis and the Asteria board. Now we can get to the file. Here you can see that the PC has recognized the drive. It's recognized it as USB drive E in this case and just immediately popped up. As long as you press that button down, you hear that beep sound, this should happen. Although if you're on a different operating system, I don't know, it could behave differently. For me, it shows up as USB drive E. For you, it could show up as D or whatever, depending on what drives you already have on here. What comes up immediately is bank 1 through 12, BGM, which is for music files apparently, system files, which are just a bunch of sound files you can preview. I changed a lot of these. So for example, I changed the boot sound, which normally just says boot, but I changed it to, well, that's not working, that. So that is the level up sound from KOTOR. I also changed the color switch sound, which just sounds like the menu, inventory screens when you're moving around. So those are real easy to change. You just have to make sure that you drag a WAV file in here and you change the name to be color switch or boot, whichever thing you're trying to replace. And the Asteria board will automatically know to look for that, and it will make it function as the color switch or the boot sound or the power off, whatever it is. So I also did make an exact copy of the original folder that was in this E drive, and I just called it Ultimate Works RVJ, so that if I make any mistake, I can always just restore exactly what was on there before, and it will not be broken at least. Now, as far as editing other things in here, it can get a little bit confusing. There is one thing that I think is kind of nice that I haven't seen others demonstrating yet, and that is this COLORMATRIX file here. So there's a bunch of, there's 12 presets on here right now, and each one will actually have a primary and a secondary color, as well as a color for the flash on clash, the clash color. And these colors are just defined by RGB numbers, red, green, and blue pixel values. And they range from 0 to 255. I don't recommend trying a number above 255 because it might break something. If you were to theoretically set everything to 255, you would get white, and you'd get a really bright white, and it would drain your battery really fast. But of course, if you were to set it to just 25500, you get full-on red, right? So this is just solid red. This color here is one I made myself. I wanted a purple that was a little bit less pinkish, a little bit more blue. So I put blue to maximum 255 and the red at just 75. And I kind of like this color. It's hard to get that really perfect purple color for this saber, but this should be a purple saber. So I wanted that in there. The secondary color is really just used on some of the blade effects where it's switching between two colors, or maybe the bottom of the blade is one color, the top is the other color, or if there's some kind of like flashing effect going on. I really like the what's it called? The chaos effect. And on that one, it actually seems like the secondary color ends up being the main color you see, with the chaos being the primary color that's sprinkled in there. So yeah, this file is fairly straightforward. Just for each one of your presets, 1 through 12 in this case, you just set your primary, your secondary, and your flash color. Okay, now as far as what's actually in these bank files, you've got a bank switch, and this is another thing that I switched out. So for the first one, I used
powering weapon,
our favorite murder droid, HK-47. And I used a few different, sound files from some of the KOTOR characters for some of the other bank switch files. If you go into the individual folders here for one bank, you can see this has just one hum file. Okay, so if I click on this, you can hear what it sounds like. Right, this is one of the standard hum files that it comes with. Then this file here just is called 1, but it's a type BG, so it's actually 1.bg. If we open this up, you can see what it looks like. It's got some goofy characters that I think are supposed to be Chinese characters coming after a comment character. So this doesn't matter actually, because there's a slash here. It's just commented out. This is saying that it's just mode 1. Mode 1 is nothing more than just a solid blade color. So this is a really simple bank here, where the hum sound is just that hum you heard, and mode 1 is simply telling you that it's just a single color. We go back in here. You see for clash, we've got all these different files. So that's because it will actually cycle through different clash sounds, so that when you clash, it's not exactly the same sound every time. So you see here a couple there. And then this TG file, it's not going to let me open that. No. Okay. Let's edit with Notepad++. There you go. So you can see mode equals 1. 1 is just a regular old solid blade color. Nothing really to look at there. All right, let's look at a more interesting one. I put on bank 12, I put the chaos one. So if I go back into the hum, you'll see I have a BG file again, and it says mode 8, chaos rate. So if you want the little twinkling to be faster, you can increase that, I guess, or maybe that's the frequency. Bigger is slower, so this is pretty frequent. Chaos multiplication 30. I haven't really messed around with this, but this is how it is standard in one of the presets, and I think it looks pretty cool, so I just left it alone. Okay, so you can adjust those settings. Now it looks like there are only 9 blade effects that are included, so really it's just a matter of changing the colors around with those blade effects, and speeding up some things or changing some parameters around. But it doesn't look like there is a way to just put a completely new blade effect on there or make up your own. So that's one drawback of this board, but at least the learning curve is a little bit less steep than something like a Profi board. Okay, so I'm not going to go into really any more detail than that. If you want to dig into it further, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you've just got all these kind of goofy file extension types, and you'll notice that sometimes there's multiple of them. So for example, like the lockup effect, right? I've got 2 FTs and a BG and a TG. And what it seems to do is when you do lockup, it'll just, each time you do it, it'll do a different effect. So you just put 5 things in there and you get different, But the sound file is just a single sound file here. Okay, well thanks guys. I hope this was informative. And thanks for checking out the channel. We'll have some more content for you later on as I work on some new projects. I've got some new hilts coming from Saber Forge, and I'll be installing Profi boards in them. And I will enjoy that, I think. So looking forward to seeing you guys again. May the force be with you. Signing off.